Welcome to the Arc of Becoming podcast, where we explore the never-ending journey of growth, transformation, and the pursuit of your higher self. I'm your host, Andrew Casey, and this is the first episode of the journey. Started a little bit ago, and before I get started, I just want to say thank you everyone for tuning in this week. This is the journey of greatness, of awesome, of transformation, and I'm excited to get started. I think a good way to start the podcast is to talk about confidence, right? I think confidence is a vital ingredient in becoming the best version of yourself. It's the foundation of achieving the things that you want to achieve. It's the groundwork for building your house. It's the concrete, if you will. And the way I like to view confidence is more about inner trust, doing what you say you're going to do and following through with what you say. Now, today we're going to go about what confidence is, how to become confident, and how to never lose confidence. And in this podcast, I want to speak through personal experience. I have a lot of personal experience working through confidence and how to become confident and how to actually keep that, how to keep your word and follow through with your actions. Now, confidence comes from the evidence of who you are or becoming. It comes from the actions that you take and not necessarily the words that you say, but the actions that you take. Now, when I say evidence, it doesn't need to be this big thing. It can be as small as making your bed or brushing your teeth. And confidence starts with competence. Now, what competence is the definition, is the ability to do something successfully, to break it down. Now, the ability to do something successfully doesn't need to be this grand thing. Like I said, it could just be making your bed. Getting up in the morning, saying I'm going to make my bed and making my bed. Saying I'm going to go brush my teeth in the morning and brushing my teeth. It starts with one step. Now, competence develops evidence to doing what you're saying you're going to do. And this ultimately builds confidence. A quote that I really like is, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Now, in order to build confidence, you need to have evidence behind that confidence. If I say something, if I do something, I need to have evidence backed by I am who I say I am, right? If I say, for example, I ran a marathon, or I'm going to run a marathon, and I don't actually take action, and the weeks go by, months go by, and people are like, did you run the marathon? And I say no, I'm going to have no confidence in my ability to follow through with my word, because I told people I was going to do it, and I didn't follow through. So right there, I'm losing confidence, right? And what confidence is, like I said before, it's, by definition, it is in Latin with intense trust. And when I take away from that, it's intense trust within ourselves. So that means we can control that. It has nothing to do with anything external. This big goal that we have, this big achievement that we have, it's great that we can accomplish that, but it has nothing to do with anything external and everything internal. Are we who we say we are as a person? And do our actions follow our words? That is true confidence right there. You don't need to have these things to be confident. You already have it in you, right? And I just want to tell my quick story about a marathon and how I was able to build confidence within myself. I think this is a great learning point for me and for people who are listening as well. So earlier this summer, I wanted to run a marathon, right? And this is me on the left side, no running experience, never ran a marathon in my life. And me on the right side, the person who ran the marathon, who accomplished doing what they say they're going to do and finish their goal, right? And in between my left version and my right version, there's a gap in between, right? And there's a huge gap from not running at all to running a marathon. And I was very overwhelmed with this gap. I didn't know where to start. I didn't have the confidence to run the marathon yet, but I knew I was going to do it. So I wrote some goals down and I started. And I think confidence starts from doing the first step, being scared and doing it anyways. That's confidence. That's courage, right? So the first week I ran my first mile. Like, I've never run more than 3 miles, I don't think. So the first week I ran my first mile. Man, that was hard, but I'm glad I did it. Next week, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. Week 3, running 5 miles, 6 miles is my best. And every week I hit a new PR, 7 miles, 8 miles. And I followed my training regimen all the way up until the marathon. And I actually did this within 10 weeks. So I peaked at 16 miles. And I haven't done, and a marathon is 26.2 miles. So 10 miles of the unknown. I've never run more than 60 miles. So I was a little intimidated, but I was ready because I put in the work. And I controlled what I could, and I did as much as I could. Right? So the marathon came, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done because the most training I did was 16 miles. And the last 10 miles of the marathon, it was all new territory. It was all new ground. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was really hot out, everything. I didn't feel like I could make it to the next mile. But I remember someone saying, can you make it to the next step? Can you make it to the next stop sign in front of you? Can you make it to the water station in front of you? And if the answer is yes, then I'm going to keep doing it. And it got to the point where I didn't even know if I could take 5 more steps, let alone run another 10 miles. But I could take one more step, right? I could do one more step. I could do 2 more steps. And that compounds over a couple hours of doing one more step at a time. I ended up finishing the marathon, finishing my goal. And that being said, with this story, I gained so much confidence for myself because I did what I said I was going to do. And the marathon doesn't happen just from running it. It comes from the process of training for it, of taking one step at a time. And that's what confidence is, right? It's building trust in yourself. Every step of the way is building trust in myself that I can do this, right? I think that's what confidence is. And that's kind of what I'm working on. It's more of a metaphor for life. One step at a time. And one step at a time is making your bed, brushing your teeth, getting yourself out of bed, journaling, meditating. Whatever that is for you, that's one step at a time. And eventually you're going to accomplish that marathon. You're going to accomplish that goal from taking one step at a time. So I just want to go over that story and say how big of an impact that had on me and how capable I actually was taking one step at a time. And from that, just one step, I'm able to gain confidence that no one can take away from me. I was closing the gap from who I am to who I want to be, right? And like I said, one step at a time. I think another way to gain confidence is experiences, right? And how do you gain experiences? By taking action, by taking that step into the unknown, you know? Some experiences I can pull from is I went skydiving recently, right? I ran a marathon. I went over to Italy abroad by myself. I'm taking these steps into the unknown, and I met so many cool people, right? I'm taking these steps into the unknown and building my confidence by betting on myself, by doing hard things and proving to myself that I can do it. So I walk into the room, no one can take that away from me. Confidence is all inner trust. It's all inside. It has nothing to do with anyone else. And confidence is different from being cocky, right? In sports and life, you can be cocky, but ultimately, I think cocky is a comparison with other people. With confidence, it's all inner trust, right? If you live by other people's cheers, you're gonna die by their judgment. So stop comparing yourself and start becoming yourself. Confidence is all an internal game. So stop playing the wrong game. Play the internal game, don't play the external game. And the truth about you is, you are not inferior, you are not superior, you are simply you. And it's you and you. It's not you versus you, it's you and you. And it's not about going to beat yourself from yesterday. It's about, I'm going to be with myself. Saying to myself, I got you. I got your back. I say I'm going to do this and I follow through. I got your back, right? It's all inner trust. This has nothing to do with anyone else. That's why confidence is amazing, because I can control that. And that's all confidence is. You are not inferior or superior to anyone else. You are you. And are you confident in saying that? Are you confident by being yourself, right? And once you realize that, you now have the power, the control to become whoever you want to become. Being me has nothing to do with anyone else. There's 8 billion people in this world, and there's 8 billion different people. No one is alike. So stop trying to be like everyone else and just be you. And one thing I want to add to that is trying to become confident, connecting yourself now to a higher version of yourself. How do you actually take action and become that version of yourself? Like, what does that look like? Because I know it can look like a long journey ahead, and it can look like so far away, and very intimidating and overwhelming at times as well. Well, I think a book I read called Psycho-Cybernetics has a concept of act as if. So you have to put in the work according to who you want to become, right? So act as if you are that person. Act as if you are the person who you want to become already. What would that person do today, right? I think too many times we think that the outcome is going to make us feel a certain way, and then we can be the certain person. Meanwhile, it's the other way around. Who do you want to be? Who does that person act like, right? I think a good way to go about this is, who do you look up to? What are their values? What are their principles that they have every day, and what do they live by? Live by that. What is the process of that? And from that, you're going to get the outcome that you want, right? You're going to align yourself with the outcome that you want. It's not, let me get this, let me achieve this goal to become happier, to become that person. No, it's the exact opposite. Who do I want to become now? And act as if that person. Act with courage if that person acts with courage. Act with integrity if that person acts with integrity. And if you do that every single day, you stack the days up, you stack the weeks up, months and years, you're going to become unrecognizable, right? And it's not, how do I feel? Because feelings change. On most days, almost all days, I don't feel like getting straight out of bed. I don't feel like putting in the work. I don't feel like doing this stuff, right? But that's not the question I'm asking. I'm asking the question of, who do I aspire to be, right? Because who I aspire to be is that lighthouse in the ocean. And how do I feel are the waves in the ocean. How do I feel changes. I'm the boat. The waves, I feel differently every single day, every moment. But that lighthouse is going to be steady on the shore every single day. And I know exactly where I'm going with that lighthouse. Now, if I didn't have a lighthouse, if I didn't have who I aspired to be and just went off based on how I feel, I'm riding the waves. I'm going wherever the waves take me. I don't control that, but I'm just going wherever the waves take me. And this is the way how it is. This is life, right? No, this is who I aspire to be, and I'm going to become that person no matter how I feel, right? I think average people base their life on circumstance, and great people base their life on commitments, just like the lighthouse. The circumstances are the waves, and the commitments are the lighthouses. No matter what the circumstance is, I'm still committed to that lighthouse. No matter what storms bring, I'm still committed to confidence, to who I want to become. I think that's such an important idea to kind of get across, and something that I'm learning on my journey as well. And I just want to share kind of what I'm learning, and hopefully someone can take a little nugget from this podcast to becoming a better version of themselves. So that's a kind of a little short snippet of today's first podcast. I'm glad. See, we took action. I wanted to start all these things, and my actions weren't aligning with who I wanted to be, right? And by doing this podcast, my actions are starting to align, right? I'm not even close, though. I need to keep taking action, keep being consistent, and keep gaining that confidence in myself. So that's the end of the first podcast episode. If you made it this far along, thank you for listening, and I appreciate it. And I will see you next week on the next episode. So thanks for tuning in, and have a great day, and keep dominating.